Let's look at the board. Okay, here's our board. GDP growth we know is weak and not really recovering. We're not quite at easing, but it's verging on easing, so that's important. Inflation we've just discussed ad nauseum. I'm putting that in neutral.
Right.
Not hike. We're not cutting it.
Yeah.
You'd cut on headline.
I'd like to move a little bit. Can we just move a little bit closer to the easing? But no. Yes, that's
next quarter, I'll tell you what, Mark. If next quarter we confirm headlines at 2.5-ish and the trim means down to 3.0, let's assume, so it comes off another 0.5%, I'll move that to the easing side.
Okay.
Labour market, I'm putting, again, not quite there because the unemployment rate, as we've discussed all show, is low, but one thing we didn't discuss, job ads, job vacancies, the NAB survey of employment intentions are all tracking down. Demand for labour is weakening. So I still think the unemployment rate's going up, and if it does, we'll move that to easing, but not there yet. Wages growth, same as the labour market. I'm just sort of hate to have one foot either side of the fence, but, again, wages growth is decelerating, as we mentioned on that SEEK measure and even the Bureau of Statistics. International economy, easing. Everyone's cutting interest rates. That's an easy one. Everyone but us. House prices, they're slowing down.
Yeah.
Sydney's about to turn slightly negative, I believe, from the numbers.
Yep.
So I'm putting that in neutral.
Yep. That's the first time, by the way.
Yep. Melbourne's weak. And the smaller cities such as Canberra, Darwin and Hobart, they're actually falling as well.
Yep.
Adelaide, Brisbane and Perth are still very strong, but the rate of increase is slowing down.
Yep.
There's a bit of a cooling in housing. So that's an interesting phenomenon.
Well, a real estate agent, a well-known real estate agent told me today from Sydney that it's now turned to a buyer's market.
Right. There we go. And the auction clearance rate last weekend, I think, was quite
down.
low.
Yep.
Yeah,
62%.
Very low. Retail sales easing. We consumers are still not spending yet, even though we've got a little bit more upturn in consumer sentiment. It's still low. We're still pessimistic on average.
Yep.
It's come off a very, very low base. So you come from the wooden spoon on consumer sentiment to now be third last.
Yeah.
If we use a footy analogy, we're not yet on the fringe of the 8. I'll move that to neutral when we get there. Building approvals, that perennially weak. That housing debate, I think that's going to be one of the election discussions.
Has to be.
Both sides are talking about it. Hooray, in a way. And you know what? The coalition rollout of infrastructure funding for, roads and guttering and sewerage and water and electricity, great. But then we also need to build more houses and we need to build them in the city as well. So that's what Labor's doing. So in a funny way, I think we've almost got, if you could cherry pick what the Libs are saying and cherry pick what Labor's saying, you might actually get a solution to this problem, but we'll see what happens there. Business investments, okay. That's neutral. That's fine. It's not a problem. It's not great. Business confidence, it's starting to turn a little bit weaker. Not catastrophic yet. Commodities, you mentioned oil price, very volatile, just neutral. We don't have a collapse in commodity prices. Iron ore, which did fall, got a boost when the Chinese cut interest rates, so it's back to neutral. Stock market's booming.
Unbelievable.
Now, they're not going to hike, but I'll put that in neutral. And current rates are restrictive, so I'm moving that to the easing side. So you can see here, there's quite a few in the easing cycle. Still a few not quite there.
The three big guys.
And this is the stuff that has the higher weighting. We've discussed that in the past. These GDP, inflation, labour market and wages, they're the things that matter most to the RBA.
Because the stuff is currently sitting in the easing column, they all feed into the top guys.
They feed in with a 1 or 2 quarter lag.
Yeah. With a lag.
Yes, correct.